BrockCast are Brock Brand Clothing. You want to elevate your style? Be bold with Brock Brand Clothing. And our future sponsor is Ready Sports Drink. You want something that tastes great while you hydrate? Drink Ready Sports Drink. What it do? It's your boy Brock, and this is the BrockCast. I'm joined with my co-host with the most talk to, Petty Pat. Talk to him.
Yo, what's good, everybody? This your boy Petty Pat in the building.
And this is the BrockCast, and you know on the BrockCast we always have special guests, and today's special guest is Mr. Eric Kussin and Mr. Dominique, the champ, Dominique Easley. Man, y'all see that ring on this finger, man. Man, what are we talking about today, man? What are we talking about? What y'all got going on?
So mental health, one thing that, we played together. So
right.
One thing that the initiative that I've taken since I retired has been mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Brock, you was there on how of an outburst I was
right.
as a child, as a kid.
Right.
I called myself a kid back then. I was very reactive. I was very uncontrollable,
mm-hmm.
and I thought that I could not be touched by the world because
mm-hmm.
at that point in time, I wasn't vulnerable enough to allow people in to be able to help me or to even love correctly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So ever since I retired, I have made it my point to allow these kids in the world not to be categorized, not to be put in a bucket, and to find the comfortability and to be okay being vulnerable,
mm-hmm.
saying that I'm not okay,
mm-hmm.
I do need help,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know everything. You know what I mean? And that allowed me to stop going through the trials and tribulations that I've been through throughout my career and stop hurting people that I should not be hurting
right.
throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're here to get people out of the labeling perspective of things and to allow everyone to know that it's not just a 1 in 5 of people who's going through mental illness.
Right.
It's a 5 in 5. Everybody here today is going through something.
Right.
So when we talk about the stories that we go through, there is a relatable factor somewhere
mm-hmm.
within that story to allow the person to be like, oh, snap.
Right, absolutely.
I've been there. I felt that before. How did you get through it?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're working as a team. Now we're working cohesively together
mm-hmm.
to be able to tackle something that will continuously go on and to be able to manage our mental health.
Right, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
And Mr. Eric, because you worked we talked earlier in the show, you work with NBA and NFL and all kind of athletes, and I kind of look at it as what he was talking about when it comes to football, we're gladiators. You know what I'm saying? We have to put on that mask, have to put on the shield, have to have our sword, because when we go on that battlefield, nobody cares about your emotions. Nobody cares about how you're doing today.
Yep.
That next man wants to take your head off. Can you talk to us about that?
Not only will I talk to you about it, it excites me that you're the one who's interviewing us, because we've been going around Radio Row and we get interviewed by media folks.
Right, right.
When you get interviewed by someone who's been on the field, on the court, it's a different understanding.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to be real with you. There's a guy, Tracy Murray. We heard people talking about NBA over there. He played in the NBA. He said, when I was playing, if I lost my grandmother, who was the closest woman in my life to me, and I shared that with my teammates at the time, there's only 5 starting positions.
Right.
And in my spot, which he was playing small forward, there's only 1 starting small forward.
Right.
The guy who's competing for my spot on my team, if I'm open, he's going to use that against me.
Right.
Okay? So athletes, it's one thing when it's like, oh, people who we're competing against on the other team, even now internally within our own team. Now let's take it another step further. The NBA and the NHL, the NBA and the NFL mandated mental health professionals to be at teams. This was in 2017. Okay? Well, under the current understanding, and this is what we're trying to change, if you raise your hand and you're in an NFL locker room right now, when I say raise your hand, I don't mean literally raise your hand. I mean you walk over to that office, everyone's looking around going, yo, what's wrong with Brock that he's going? What's wrong? So mental health is, even though we have the greatest awareness in the history of our planet, what the awareness is off.
Right.
It's an awareness of, oh, we're letting Brock acknowledge that something's wrong. No, there's something wrong with everyone, okay? And the people who aren't open up and aren't sharing, they're the ones whose performance are taking a dip. Why does a guy leave the league 2 years earlier? Why does a guy make a Pro Bowl for 2 years and then tail off? And we think, oh, because he lost his skill set.
Yeah.
No, because something's going on up here. And just because he didn't raise his hand and say there's something going on because he thought there'd be an issue if I do that.
Right.
What's happening to his performance? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to open up and go, you look at this dude, and yes, if you want to be a skeptic and say, oh, he's only doing it now after his career.
Right.
Be honest. If you knew this stuff during your career.
Oh, I'll definitely. So, and that's one thing. Brock is a living testament of who I was in 2016, 17. You know what I mean? Like, so he's seen the type of person and how erratic I was, and I wish that I would have been able to do that because there was a certain point where I was going through stuff with the mother of my kids, and I asked for help from the Rams. And guess what? They gave me a therapist. But I didn't relate with that therapist. The therapist treated me like a client. Exactly. A therapist was trying to label me and put me in a box. Okay, he has depression. Oh, no, he has a multiple personality disorder. He has this. Instead of understanding why am I here today? Why am I doing this? Why am I acting like this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be acting like this in the position that you're in. So they never took the time out to understand who you are as a person.
I want to speak on that. Do you feel like that is a reason why a lot of people don't seek help? Because a lot of men in general don't seek help because they feel like, oh, well, I'm paying this person. I'm not like actually genuinely getting some type of mental health advice on how I'm feeling or how I'm supposed to deal with something because I got to pay this person to tell me what to do. And now they putting me in a box, labeling, oh, this is what now they putting me on medication and you going through all this other stuff. And then now your medication got you feeling even worse than what it was. And then it's like you're in a continuous cycle where you can't get
What is a doctor? And I'm not trying to knock the medical profession. What is a doctor? A doctor is a business.
Right.
Just like a store is a business. When someone comes into that store, they want you to come, back after you bought something, right? So when you go to the doctor, to your point of why you're not going to love the question, is you get help from them, but what does that help look like? If all that helps look like is, tell me more about that, and then take this drug. But they're not giving you tools and skills and things that you're supposed to be drilling every single day with the expectation, hey, I don't want you seeing me every single week, 3 months from now, 5 months from now. I want you to get better to the point where you've gained the skill set yourself. That's an honest doctor. That's someone who's trying to teach me. That's what a coach does for you. Coach says, I want to show you so that we talk about coaching trees in NFL. That coach doesn't want his coordinator to only stay with him. He wants his coordinator to go and start other teams. Why is the therapist saying, I want you to be my client for the rest of my life, as opposed to, I want you to heal, go on this healing journey. I'll call it a healing journey instead of heal as in like final destination. But I want you to be able to continue to help yourself and then help other people. But that's how healing.
But where do we get that from, though?
And it's crazy, and I was just about to get to that. So it's a double-edged sword, right? You know how you ask the question of, oh, is that the reason why men don't go or people don't go to therapists, because this idealization of, okay, I'm paying them, and then the way they're talking to me is in a box form. But it's also me, right? I have to also be open enough to be able to be vulnerable, to tell her everything. And I'm in school right now to finish my degree to get my master's in family and counseling. And one thing that I'm going to make sure that I do when I get to that position is make them understand that, I'm trying to understand who you are as a person so you can be able to open up. But if you don't open up, I cannot help you. Like, I cannot help you get through what you need to go through, because where would I be pointing you if I don't know what's going on?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I said. It's
I was going to say, so as a man, so to men that are actually sitting there watching this, because majority, let's just be real, majority men watch podcasts.
Right.
Not saying that women don't, but it's majority men. Yeah. And it's majority men, we feel like if we open up or we start telling our feelings, we become weak. And now...
And that's where the word vulnerability comes into play, because when you're vulnerable, you give off something that you normally wouldn't give off. Now you have to have the ability to receive and not expect. That's the difference between people. When people tend to be vulnerable, they be vulnerable with the expectation of how they are going to receive my vulnerability and how they should. Because if they don't receive it the way I want them to, I'm going to feel a certain way or I'm going to not do it again. No, that's not being vulnerable. That's just manipulating the situation to get what you want to get and utilizing something that you can weaponize. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to have the ability to receive what they're also giving back. You know what I mean? And that is a full spectrum of vulnerability.
I'm gonna piggyback on his. If both of you guys want to get in the best physical shape of your life, and you know there are personal trainers out there, would you stop at the first personal trainer who didn't get you the results you were looking for?
No.
Right?
No.
You keep,
Right.
Okay.
Keep
So
going.
we look at our body as a machine that we're working out, and instead we look at our brain and we go, I don't really know how to navigate this. Okay, well, what if we actually interviewed these people who are out there and we
Right.
looked at them and you're a personal trainer for my brain, okay? And I'm going to use a word that's probably not so understood or common. It's called integrative. Looking for integrative doctors, okay? Integrative mental health practitioners, folks who go, okay,
Holistic.
Brock, there's many different things we can try with you.
Right.
You coming in, I don't have one particular thing that I do that is in my one tool. I have a whole tool belt of things, and we're
Yeah.
going to try which ones work. We as men
Which
got to
one
be
work for
willing
you?
to. Yes, we as men got to be willing to interview these doctors and go, let me know how many tools you've got in your belt because I want to be able to try each one of them out. Because just like one trainer, I might be better with plyometrics. Another trainer, I might be better with doing cardio machines. Okay, well, which one of these tools are you giving me? Because to your point, if it's all it's about is sitting on a couch and crying our eyes out, men don't want to do that.
Right. Absolutely.
not at all.
We're solutionary driven. You know. We
men
want to
always
get to
think
it.
logical.
Yes.
We always think like, what would happen if I did this, or the consequences of me doing something.
So tell me this, Eric. How is Same Here changing that? How is Same Here changing
So when
that
you come
perspective?
to our website, when you come to our social channels, and I'm going to ask you to join now too.
Okay.
We've got an alliance of 150 different athletes, entertainers, and then also mental health professionals. If they want to be on our alliance, every single one of them is making this sign, which you see on the shirt, Same
Right.
Here. What it means is I go through challenging life events just like you do. So if I have Shamika Holtzclaw from the WNBA, she's talking about that she grew up in a single-parent household. She's
Right.
not talking about that she has bipolar.
Right. Right.
He's talking about his childhood trauma. He's not talking about that he got diagnosed with multiple personality disorder.
Right.
When you see a quilt of hundreds of people saying we all are going through something, the narrative shifts away from who in the room has it
Right,
to,
right.
oh, yeah, dude, your thing is this, my thing is, oh, let's talk about the commonalities of it. My personal story was my brother having cancer twice and septic shock and kidney transplant. Okay, those are specifics. But
Right.
what is the macro in that? Having someone who's sick in your family, having a brother who's sick,
Right.
having people who are in the hospital who are in your family, organ transplant, even though his was kidney, other people, when they hear a story, they relate to the story. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to go, let's get away from Kevin Love has anxiety, Lamar DeRozan has depression. No, that's
Right.
not helping us.
Right.
What's helping us is this, when we as men go, this is the shit that we go through. It's hard when I go through a breakup.
Right.
When you do that, then the fear of being judged goes away because you've got a group of dudes where you're like, oh, every Friday night we get together and we talk about that.
Right. Right.
Now, amongst dudes, you heal in community. Now it's a complete. Imagine having that in a football locker room with 53 men. And some teams do get to that point.
Yeah.
Where instead of it being who are the messed up ones, they go to the team psychologist. But you got a leader in there who's like, this is what's going on with my partner right now. It's difficult.
But
Now,
I was gonna ask, so when that happens, so okay, let's say 60 to 80% of men who in America deal with mental health issues, whether they
100%
know
of
it,
men.
whether they
100%
know it
of
or
men.
not, whether they know it or not. And that's just a number that I feel like, because even though my homeboys might just be ranting about just something that, you know what I'm saying, even when on the game, they just ranting about something at home, dealing with some woman issues or work or something like that. They don't even know that is a mental health issue.
that's the whole point.
But,
Right.
okay, so in the sports world, do you feel like it should be mandated from team to team to team? Listen, each player should have to, sit down and deal with a...
No, but here's what happens, okay? And I love that you're asking the specifics of this question because, like you said, we're solution-oriented, right? We have to be, as men, that's where our mind goes to. So when you're the NBA and you're the NFL and you're the first two leagues that require mental health professionals,
Right.
and you expect that in 3 years, that's going to solve the problem, that's not going to solve anything.
Right.
Nor is mandating them going to solve it. Here's what's going to solve things. You have guys like this who are player development people who live at the team, and their job is to speak about their own vulnerability.
Yeah.
When they do that, they normalize what going through things mean.
Absolutely.
And then what the guys end up doing is they talk with each other, and then they go, oh, me talking to this mental health professional, I actually want to do that. So you can't force and you can't hire. You have to have assets internally that are culture bridges that bring people to those professionals, because it happens in an organic way through openness.
Organic.
Right.
Exactly.
So for instance, you know how we usually have, like, when we come in our rookie meetings and stuff like that early
Rookie
in the morning.
symposium and all that, right, yeah.
So I feel like they can utilize that time to really work on each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead
Yeah.
of just going in there sometimes sleeping,
Yeah.
instead of just going there just bullshit.
But let's be real about it, and this is the fucked up part. It's a business. Do they really care about mental health? No. They care about
Checking the box.
production. Let me see you produce on the field. That's all they care about.
This is why what you need to, we could, okay, so if I ask you to do plyometric box jumping and I'm your coach, and you do it for 2 weeks and you're sweating and you're hitting your knees and you're not getting up, and then all of a sudden you're like, Coach Eric, holy cow, my vertical leap's up 2 inches higher,
Right.
2.5, 3. You and I would be high-fiving. But what if I told you, hey, Brock, you're actually carrying a 15-pound weight back on your back. Your 3 inches will become 4 and 5 if we take 5 pounds of that 15 away,
Right.
10 pounds of that 15 away. Holy shit, my performance is getting even better. So when you give people the understanding of trauma is something that is affecting your physiological body. There's biological implications. Your vagus nerve changes, your HPA axis changes, your gut changes. How can you perform at your highest when your body is not
It's
producing
failing
it,
you,
right?
yeah.
So the psychoeducation that needs to happen is, yes, there's a piece of vulnerability of opening up, but what does vulnerability get me? If all you're after, if you're the guy, I gave the example before, if you're the gym coach who wears bike shorts in the corner and has a freaking arms crossed, that person's never going to listen to me when it's vulnerability.
Right.
But when I say I can make sure that your guys can run faster in the 40 and jump higher, they'll listen up. And when
Right.
I can show the numbers, because we have that data to go, this is what happens when we get people to open up, now they listen.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy that you say that, because you see it all the time whenever an athlete is somewhere and he's not happy, and then he goes somewhere and it's a better situation and he gets to play free, and then that game just changes. You like, man, I feel I'm happy here. I get to play free. I'm stress free. I don't have to deal with all the so
that's
I
the
completely
positive end.
understand
Think about the negative end of it, okay? How many guys that you guys played with? Did you play ball in
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
How many guys that we all played with, you were like, oh, that guy's going to go on to have a long career.
Right.
And then their career ends 2 years before you thought it would, or they
Yeah.
only played 1 year in the league. You're like, okay, barring physical injury, you're like, how did they burn out? Where did
Yeah.
that burnout come from?
Right.
And we think, oh, maybe they didn't have the skill or they didn't have the maybe it's they were dealing with stuff, and that is what took their body down, not a physical injury. And how many man years are lost, and then dollars are lost because they didn't
Because
work on
of
this.
mental health.
That's why.
Yes.
That's how we have to explain it into the rookie transition program.
Yes.
But
Yes.
also with coaching as well, because you got to think about, some coaches are super harsh on players, right? And then you'll have those coaches who are we call player coaches, we can go and vibe and talk to and stuff like that. So you have to be able to navigate those different type of.
So do I have time for a two-second story
Yeah,
about
yeah.
coaches?
Talk to us.
We were in Providence, Rhode Island, okay? You want to talk about Irish Catholic white dudes
Okay.
who are like, they do not stoic on their face. Ed Driscoll is the athletic director. He's like, Eric, you did a great job with the student athletes last night. We're meeting with the coaches tomorrow. He goes, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, go ahead.
He goes, I want you to fucking rip them. And he doesn't mean it in terms of like,
Right.
He's like, wake these motherfuckers up. So, okay, it's Irish Catholic, white guys all around me. I got a guy named Eric Kelly, boxer, black dude next to me. I want him to talk in a similar way. And there's a gentleman who's now the head coach of Georgetown basketball. His name is Ed Cooley.
Okay.
I'm open up. I'm giving. All of a sudden, as I'm talking about the power of vulnerability, and Ed's hand, his huge hand, on the table. He goes, "Damn it!" And he looks around the room and he goes, "When I recruit, when I go into a house of these kids that I'm recruiting, I tell the parents and I tell the kids I'm recruiting that when I was a kid, was growing up homeless, couch surfing. I had to have Burger King if I was lucky for dinner." He's like, the only way these kids respect me and they understand me and we become family is if I'm vulnerable with them from the beginning.
Right.
And you saw jaws drop from the other coaches. So to your point, And it's the same thing that we were talking about with the players. He need to be a player development person with the players. In the coach's circle, you need a coach who gets the bigger picture to shake the foundation. No professional coming in trying to do a presentation is going to change culture.
Right.
It's got to be the people who've done the job that change the culture.
You think? Yeah, I feel like, and I'm glad you said that, because I got to speak on my boy. I feel like that's why Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, resonates with so many kids.
Right.
Because he walks in and he's vulnerable to a lot of these parents and these kids. Like people are getting mad because he's getting high recruits to his school, and he like people don't understand. They don't understand why this kid's going over there. It's more than just coaching. I can resonate with you, right? I can sit down there. Yeah, I can sit down there. Exactly. I can sit down there and talk with you outside of football. Now we didn't have a 4-hour conversation.
Right.
You didn't came to recruitment, but we talking about our favorite food and just some stuff that we done had to, we done did together as kids and stuff like that. So, so all you people out there hating on Coach Prime, stop it, because he resonated with the kids, bro, and that's why they're going to go play for him. It's not about coach. It's not about the prestige of the school. It's not about how many national championships they got. He gonna get them. They're gonna get in the league. He gonna make sure these kids get in the league. But as a coach and as a man, he can resonate with them.
Man, we appreciate that, man. Dominique, Eric, man, y'all coming on the show, giving us a piece of, what you guys got going on. Where can people find you?
So, a couple different places. Website is samehereglobal.org. Again, I'm going to get you a profile to get up there with.
Gotta get a profile.
At samehere_global. And the big thing that we're sharing out there, because it's a free resource, Same Here Scale is an app in both app stores. Okay, and what it does is it lets you track your changes in your mental health. Why? Because we step on a scale for our weight.
Right.
We take blood pressure. We need something to track, so it allows you to track, and then it gives you the gym for the brain exercises.
Okay.
So you're not having to sit on the couch and cry.
Right.
You could proactively work on it. And then Dom wants to talk about Easley.
For me, Easley Foundation, so it's easleyfoundation.org, where we enhance vulnerability. Whenever you're going through a situation, if you need to talk about it, if you need to get it off your chest, if you need to be vulnerable, we'll be here to take you through that journey, take you through that path.
Man, everybody's dealing with trauma, man, and we just talked about it. That, if you're going through something, being vulnerable will help you. Get that off your chest and, have a better mental health. But we appreciate you guys coming on the show, man, and everybody. If y'all been rocking with us since the beginning, y'all know the motto: don't get ready, stay ready. Peace.